Hello and happy July. This is part two of our collective year in preview for the year 2026. And I'm so excited to be continuing and giving you this part two for the second half of the year. So without further ado, let's get to it. Shalom all, I'm Stacy the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to this year in preview for a collective reading for 2026. And I've never had this happen before. Normally I get these, I am long-winded. Brevity is not my strong suit for sure, but normally I get these done in, an hour to an hour and 20 minutes. But I got through 6 months in an hour. So we're going to do a part two because quite frankly, like nobody's got time for that. So here we are, and let me introduce you to the cards that we're actually going to be working with, or what we have been working with. And by the way, the link is in the description below for part one of this when you are if you are interested in checking that out. So we are pulling cards from the Awakens Tarot. And then we are also pulling a supportive goddess energy from Colette Baron Reed's Goddess Power Oracle. So, with that in mind, we are into June. And the card that we pulled for June is the 10 of Pentacles. And I find it fascinating that this year we have had so many pentacles. What does that mean? Pentacles are thoughts that have become a thing. They are thoughts that have become tangible. It is the health and wealth. It is our material component to life. And 10 of Pentacles is about legacy. It's about arriving, having all the things that you worked hard to achieve. You've arrived. You've got enough in the bank, for your offspring. You've got enough to live comfortably for you. You've got enough to give away, and you've got enough to invest. And you are, considering where you came from, and you're considering where you're going. And what do you want to implement in those ways? So we are also in a 1 year new beginnings, and 10s are new beginnings based on an already established foundation. So I think it's absolutely brilliant that we are starting the halfway point into the second half of the year under that one energy. So thank you, universe. Thank you, guides. Thank you, cards, for validating that energy that we are working through. So July is going to be a month that I feel brings with it a lot of churning feelings, churning emotions, concern around legacy, concern around what your personal path and personal legacy looks like. You're going to be feeling some anxiety around the path that you've chosen, or anxiety around the path that you're choosing. And what I keep hearing very clearly is the anxiety is an illusion. Like, yes, you're going to feel it on a physical level. That shit's real. But it is an illusion. I feel like it's the ego voice that's popping up, because the ego says, wait a second, we've never been here before. This is kind of a big deal. And what if it goes wrong? What if it goes south? What if you can't trust yourself? What if you can't trust what it is that you are stepping into? What if you can't trust that you are on the right track? And so the ego its sole purpose is to keep you safe. And it doesn't understand the difference between the pain of ripping a Band-Aid off of your arm or off of your hand and cutting the whole damn hand off. So it brings a 5-alarm fire to everything that you do. And it tries to keep you stuck. It tries to keep you in a place where it knows you're predictable. It knows that it can protect you in these ways, even if those ways are uncomfortable. So I feel like July, this 10 of Pentacles is coming up because you are going to be focusing on what is my living legacy. You're going to be making some shifts and changes in that regard. And there's going to be fear around it. And I want to say to you, the fear is illusory. Keep moving down the path that you have chosen. Even if it's brand new, doesn't matter. It's a path that you're choosing, and it's important to do so. I feel like more is lost through indecision than wrong decision. And I'm also feeling like success is assured. I feel kind of on a global level that there's going to be, I mentioned in a previous month that there's going to be some kind of global initiative, a global, people coming together to create something new. And I see there being some kind of inauguration, and a new announcement, a celebratory experience. I see a lot of people buying a lot of tickets. I see a lot of people feeling joyful to be able to fly, to go somewhere, to travel unimpeded. It feels very exciting, and it feels like an exciting time for humanity, something that people can really get behind and say, yes, okay, we're going in the right direction. I also feel like there's going to be some interesting issues around justice being served in some pretty broad ways. And I see there being a celebratory energy to the outcomes of those legal situations. And I would say to you, celebratory could go both ways. The criminal could be celebrating because they get off, or it could be, the people celebrating because yay, or the victim or the survivor celebrating because they've been convicted. I would say to you, this feels more like a mass of people are very happy about this, the mass of people. So I want to say I feel like this is a good thing for people overall, not for the bad guys, so to speak. It's bad for the bad guys and great for the good guys. Here is our goddess energy, Eostra, new beginnings. Oh my God. Like, you can't make this shit up, guys. You just can't. So July marks the new beginnings. June was like a turning point. July is now, okay, we're in it now. There is celebratory energy to the new beginning and the fresh start, and we are supported in those new things that we are doing, that we are going to be bringing into the mix. I feel also like with this new beginning energy on an individual level, there are going to be stirrings in your soul that are going to encourage you to look at all areas and aspects of your life and determine where a new beginning or a fresh start is warranted. For some of you, changing one thing up is going to be enough. For a lot of us, we're going to make some big changes. I see people moving, maybe moving out of country, moving back into the country, people moving to another state, people moving to a place that they've always wanted to live. I feel this sense of like people saying, now's the time, seize the day. And we're going to do things that we really want to do. So I feel a lot of joy that comes out of this. Yeah, we still are, I want to say in a kind of a bumpy situation overall, but I feel really good about it in general. Okay, let's tap into August, the energy of August. Big things happening in quiet ways in August. The world, conclusions, arriving, the sum total of everything you worked hard to achieve. Oh, and I just realized there's nudity here. So YouTube is very strict. So the world card. Feeling here in August, like I said, a lot is being done, but it's being done quietly. I feel like there's this overall sense of, well, just what I did. Although my sigh was more frustration, but I feel it's more a sigh of relief that's going to be coming up in this regard. Understanding that we don't have to put our focus so much at this time to things that really should be running on their own, right? Like we're not having to police every system. We're not having to police every single person that we come across. I feel like there's going to be more trust established, not across the boards, but I feel like more trust, more reason to open to trusting, and maybe not trusting 150%, but trusting 10% and seeing where that trust goes and grows. So definitely getting a lot of that energy. August also is going to bring about some weird stock exchange situation or investments exchange situation. I want to say this feels, I'm just going to put this here to cover the nudity. It's not a crash per se, but it feels like a big error or someone getting caught doing something they're not supposed to be doing and it getting rectified in a big way. But I do feel kind of like scandal energy. I don't feel like it's like a Bernie Madoff situation where people lose their money as much as I feel like people could have lost their money, but it gets thwarted. And I feel a lot of goodness coming out of the thwart, is how I would put that. Here is our goddess for the month, potential, Ceridwen, or Ceridwen, I believe is the Ceridwen, is the way we pronounce that. Potential. Loving that, because when you are in that world card, and oh, sorry, here I am thinking I'm on the right camera. Here we are, Ceridwen, potential. Here we are at the world card, and the world really is the end of the fool's journey, and you're getting ready to begin a new one, right? So you're taking with you all that you've learned, and you're stepping into the potential of a new journey. And I feel like August is opening up each individual's minds, each individual's consciousness to understanding their full potential. It's kind of like uh, things that have been placed over people to hold people back have been quietly removed. And now there's just more freedom in what that is. But I want to say, while potential is delicious, it's a nothing burger unless you actually do something to make it happen. And so I feel that August provides a lot of opportunity for people, tons and tons of opportunity for people. But, you got to say yes to the opportunity. You've got to be willing to step up and to move forward into that energy. So I feel like that's going to be really important. Okay, and now we are going on to September. Hearing the word peace, hearing the word persistence, feeling a cleansing that is happening. Ooh, feeling like there's going to be a water event. Not a good one. Like losing a body of water, or losing like I keep hearing like Dead Sea, like not necessarily the Dead Sea, but like a body of water that has now gone dead, gone stale. And I do feel that there will be something in the fairly near future that will help us to be able to reverse that, but it's going to be a very slow reversal. Like we're talking decades to get that water back to normal. And I feel like it's a water source that a large group of people rely on. So there's going to be some water related stuff that's going to come into the mix in September. I'm not sure where in the world. I do feel North America. But I do feel that that's going to be a problem. So here we have Six of Pentacles. Again, it's a real pentacle year. So Six of Pentacles, generosity, give and take, Also, this can be miserly. This can be getting something, somebody giving you something, but there are strings attached. And that's exactly what I'm feeling in September is you're going to want to really pay attention to where you're investing your time and your energy. And you want to be paying attention to what you actually need or want out of that. Like, what's your why? I say that all the time. What is your why for giving it? An analogy that's just popping into my head is I have a kind of a rule. If I lend a friend money, I'm only giving them that money because I have it to give and I literally have no expectation that I'm going to get it back. Because if there's expectation of getting it back, or if I really need it and that person, doesn't end up paying it back, then it ruins the friendship, right? Or sullies the friendship. So I learned that lesson a long time ago, that if I don't have it to give, I try to help them in another way, but I have to say no. Or if I am giving it, I'm giving it as a gift. Like I have no expectation. And then if it does come back to me, awesome. Okay, no worries. But if it doesn't come back to me, I'm not counting on it. I feel like this is the approach that we need to be taking going into September, because there's going to be a lot of people who are false giving, giving with a lot of expectation, giving with a lot of strings attached, giving to get. And I don't want to say to you that that's necessarily inherently a bad thing. We all work to get paid so that we can live our lives, right? I mean, there is an exchange there. And I would say this is about healthy reciprocity. What we're dealing with is unhealthy reciprocity. We're dealing with people where the price is too high sometimes. Where I used the analogy in a previous month about, the credit card companies, signing your life away to 20%. Yeah, I don't want to have to pay 20% to bring my stuff back, but I need the money and I can't seem to get it in any other way. So they got you over a barrel, right? I feel like September is an invitation for us on a very personal level to pay attention to those dynamics and to, give yourself permission to not get involved in a situation or a transaction where the price is too high, that there are too many strings, too many hoops to jump through in order to be able to do it, right? Like I'm asking for something, or I'm the one who's coming to you for this, but I'm also a human being and I deserve my dignity. I deserve my integrity. So I feel like that's going to be kind of a big theme, so to speak, in September with all of us. Also, from a work perspective, check your bank accounts, check your pay stubs. I feel like a lot of like weird bank errors, weird like payroll glitches and things like that, where you're not getting the things that you need necessarily in the right ways. So just dot the I's and cross the T's when it comes to like reconciling your accounts. So our goddess is Ellen, patterns, or Ellen, patterns. That kind of taps into what I was seeing there, because whenever you are running into a situation where you've got somebody who, that Six of Pentacles energy, who's got a lot of strings attached, maybe that points to particular patterns and cycles in your own life that you're trying to break or that are unhealthy. Maybe you're the person who puts a lot of strings, conditions on your giving or on why you're giving, and you're starting to recognize that's a control issue, or that's, I'm doing that because I want to keep that person around, or I don't trust that person. And so I feel like the month is encouraging all of us and giving all of us a chance to really go into that space of patterns and what patterns work for you and what patterns hold you back, what patterns are no longer serving the path that you're walking. I would also encourage all of us to really take stock of the part that we're playing in these kinds of dynamics, because you can very easily fall into victim mode, but you can also be the perpetrator. And we've all been there and done that. So like PS and FYI, nobody gets out of here unscathed. Everybody has done something on either side of that that situation. But I feel like we're being called on a collective level to pay attention to our patterns. And I feel like it's going to be really important for the remainder of the year, because there is something coming up. I feel I feel like it's coming up in October, where we start to see a pattern resurfacing. And it's going to come down to, what do we do with this? If we're seeing a pattern resurfacing, we need to nip it in the bud right now. Otherwise, it's going to get out of hand. So have we learned the lesson? I feel like that's the message. Have we learned the lesson? October. Let's see what's coming up in October. Knight of Cups. Yeah. And I want to say, I feel like a false knight. So just like what I was saying, have we learned the lesson? There's a pattern coming up. There's a knight in white shining armor that is coming. And no offense, this card has a beautiful Indigenous person on it. So I don't mean to be disparaging of the picture on the card. What I'm seeing kind of like is like the reversal of this, which is someone who is showing up with a lot of words, a lot of grand gesture, a lot of talk, but very little action. And this could be like a false prophet. This could be someone who is a smooth talker. This definitely feels like someone who would have like a platform, someone who would be in the public eye. This could be a political figure. This could be a religious figure coming up. This could be an influencer. This is definitely someone that is kind of a common household name, or could very easily become a common household name. And if we have not learned our lessons from the previous patterns, then we are going to walk right back in, like out of the frying pan and into the fire. Wow. This feels really uncomfortable as I'm tapping into this, especially given when I'm recording this video and where we're at right now. This is like, I want to say it's like false prophet, cult of personality, cult leaders, that kind of thing. So we really need to be very discerning about who's going to actually be able to bring us the goods. On an individual level, I feel like this also is a warning to really use your discernment and pay attention to people's actions over their words. Do their actions match their words? Because if they don't, you might want to just kind of walk away. You don't need to lean in. You don't need to give that person any credence. It's an opportunity, I feel, for a lot of growth on an individual level. A lot of codependency issues being broken through. I'm also hearing a lot of like empath narcissist cycles, where you're going to be addressing those issues as well. And if you're used to attracting narcissistic partners, you're going to suddenly just see the forest for the trees. You're going to see it, and then you're going to have the choice. I recognize this. I know what this is. Sometimes we know and we still go ahead. So it's on you to make that determination. And our goddess is Mama Coca, water. This is really interesting. Water is the psychic realm. Water is the realm of our ocean of emotion. Water calms and soothes things. Water can also damage things. And I feel like this goddess is coming through, especially with this Knight of Cups. Cups is also water. To say that there can be an overabundance. Pay attention to balance in this situation. Not everybody's water is balanced. Not everybody uses water in the same ways. I know that sounds funny because you're like, okay, well, we all need water to drink, Stacey, to live, to hydrate the body. But even from that perspective, some people walk around, dehydrated most of their life. Other people walk around and they're overhydrated, right? And when we're talking about from an emotional perspective, there are some people who are, honest and forthright and trustworthy and balanced in their emotional state, and some of them are not. And I feel like this is the overall theme and the thrust and the energy that is coming up here when we're talking about October. Lots of water related stuff. I also feel that this can refer as well to physical physical floods, flooding in homes, flooding in apartments. I would encourage everyone to make sure that you have some really good flood insurance, even in places where you don't normally need it. Make sure you're covered with that, because I do feel like there's an overabundance of water, an overabundance of emotion that comes out, and not everyone is in balance with that. So check up from the neck up. Are you the one who's out of balance with that and you need to bring your emotions into check a little bit? Or are you surrounded by individuals, who are out of balance, and therefore you need to protect yourself in that regard? So that feels really important. November, Six of Swords, support and grace. Moving on to calmer shores, right? This is really interesting. I love this for us in November. I feel like, speaking from a US perspective, I'm feeling like this is, and actually, if I'm thinking about it, I think this is election time. So this would actually make sense. I feel that the election is going to be fraught with some challenge, but overall, there is going to be a victory for the people. Things being righted, things being realigned, rebalanced, feeling that harmony is demanded, and feeling also like there's something like putting a stop to something in a very clear, direct, resolute way. I feel like I've given that message a couple of times over the course of this year in these readings, is things being stopped immediately, people being stopped immediately. So 2026, I feel, has got everybody's dander up, and we are moving on to calmer shores. And this feels really good. I feel like on an individual level, when I'm tapping into this energy, there are definite choices that are being made, especially for women. I feel like women, heads of the household, women running their household, women in charge of their own lives and their own spaces and their own places. There's almost like a full coming into your power, coming into your own. Something really shifts here on a global level, and I see that shift kind of reverberates. It's a ripple effect. It's communicated the way that it happens. It's communicated throughout the entire world, and some major shifts and changes occur. I don't know exactly what that means, but I see women rising up. I see women taking charge, women in power, not just in the US here. I feel like globally across the globe, but I do feel that it has to do with something that comes out of the US. So I would say this does feel a little bit politically. All right, what is our goddess? Skald, the future. Love that. Yes, November is really telling on of the future of what we are stepping into. So 2026, as we know, is a 1 year. It's new beginnings. We are creating new. We are creating out of the rubble. We are reinventing the wheel. Okay, so this goddess is coming through to say, I support you with your future. There is a future. You have a future. You are creating it right now. And I have to point out, it's a 46, which is a 10, which is a 1. New beginnings based on an already established foundation is the 10. So I'm just telling you guys, like, this gives me so much freaking hope, because there 2025 has really been difficult, and there have been moments, and will probably continue to be some moments, where we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know whether we're going to make it or not, right? As I'm reading this, there is a future. We are seeing it. We are creating it. We are building it. And I love that these are the things that I'm tapping into. All right, December. Let's see what December holds for us. First things first, I feel like December is going to be an unusually celebratory month. Yes, it is a kind of a holiday season energy for most people across the globe, in various ways, but I feel that it's extra celebratory. I feel like there are new organizations that announce themselves, that are rising from the ashes. I'm feeling that there are global announcements of these global initiatives that are coming through, that are, bringing more people into the fold, that are rolling out their initiatives, that people are able to sign up for things, people are able to enact these things, participate in these things. It feels like everyone kind of goes woohoo, like there's still a lot going on, but people feel triumphant. Oh my god. Okay, so what did I say at the beginning of this reading? This is a 1 year. It's the year of the magician. I chose this card deck because it had a magician on the front, this picture. And I secretly in my mind was wondering, I wonder if the magician is actually going to show up in the reading. Like, I chose the thing because of the cover and the name of the tarot deck, right? But here in December, to wrap out the year, it's an acknowledgement that you have begun anew. The new beginnings were successful. And I think I said that at the beginning of the reading as well. Success is assured. I think that was in our January. So the fact that the magician is coming up says to me that there's a great deal of success. I love that it's a woman, a female magician. So I'm definitely feeling that energy of, females feeling a little more triumphant, feeling a little more included, like we matter, like we're being acknowledged, like we're being treated with the respect that we deserve, as citizens of this planet. That there are more resources because women are coming together to build those resources, to create those resources for other women. And we are having allies, male allies, coming in to support that effort as well. I feel like December is going to bring about a lot of awareness of what has worked this year and what hasn't. And there's a real motivated, like, I feel like there's a lot of momentum, and that momentum's going to keep going to uh, bring that forward. It's almost like I feel like from 1 year to the next, we're almost like bulldozing through it. It's like we don't want to stop and acknowledge the year. We want to just keep going because we want to keep up with the momentum that we've been given and the momentum that we've been shown, that we've started. So this magician energy, I feel, is really kind of coming through in December to say, don't stop now. Like, yes, we can acknowledge as we go. We still need to do the work. We still need to keep going. So I definitely feel like this holiday season is going to be celebratory but short, because there's a lot of work to do. And on that collective level, I'm feeling that we're going to have a lot of larger institutions, so governmental institutions, but also I want to say big corporate business that are recognizing that they've lived high off the hog for long enough, and it's now time to give back, that they can't not work. And it's not about profit. I mean, it's always about profit, but like, their working is not about profit in the ways that it normally is, that they're working everyone to death because they want to make higher profits during the holiday season. It's not that. It's more like having to earn the respect of the people, earning the respect back of the people. Ooh, I like that. Let's see the goddess energy. On an individual level, I feel like everybody is just kind of like everyone's just really still just very much in forward momentum mode. Celebratory, yes, but not necessarily about the holiday. I feel like they're celebratory about like the future and how we're moving forward. So whatever that is, Mott, truth. So makes a lot of sense. We're focusing on the truth. We're focusing on the reality of what is. We continue to move forward. We continue to plod forward because we understand that there's no time like the present. And if we sit back for 1 second, that's 1 second of delay that might as well be 10 years. So it's like making up for lost time, but not in a frantic way. I don't feel frantic. I feel realistic. You know, it is what it is. We are where we are. And if we don't want to stay here, we know what we need to do to move forward. And that's what this whole year has been about, throwing a little spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. You know, not fully understanding exactly how all of this is going to transpire, but knowing that we need to move forward and move ahead with it. And that's how things are coming up and coming through. Wow. Okay, guys, that is, I think, probably the longest reading I have ever done. I hope you have enjoyed it. Part 1 and part 2. I will be releasing this again throughout the year, just kind of as little reminders, little checkpoints. So, you know, keep your eyes peeled for that on my YouTube channel. You know, we have been in it, and it's time we pat ourselves on the back because it's been a rough ride. And I feel extremely hopeful and extremely motivated after doing this reading that, yeah, there's still a lot of shit show. There's going to be a lot of shit show for a number of years. But I feel like we're kind of like over the hump. We're through the worst of it. And we are building new. Yes, we're reinventing the wheel. Yes, it takes a lot of extra effort to start things from scratch. But when we start things from scratch based on what is now and that future vision forward, and we're building things for 10 years out and 20 years out, not 2 years out, that is what we want to be doing. That is where our success lies. So live in the present moment, be in your body, own your choices, and allow yourself to imagine the most amazing things possible in that future space. Because the future will eventually be our now, right? We're always in now. Stand in that space, be in that space, allow yourself to play in that imaginary space, create the vision that you wish to live, create the future that you wish to have. And I feel like whatever you create goes into the mosaic of what we are all creating at this time. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, sending you so much love and support. Click on the link below if you need any kind of support, guidance, direction. You know where I'm at. Readings, experiences, you know, healings, channelings, whatever you need. I'm here for it all. So would love to connect with you. And otherwise, we'll see you for another episode of my Black Feather Code Tour, Divining a VIP Life. Stay connected with me on social media, and we will see you on the flip side. Transform well.